Locals will tell you not to do it. The old ones especially, the ones who grew up near the woods, who remember when the roads out here were barely roads at all, they'll look at you differently when you bring it up. They won't laugh. They won't wave it off. They'll just say, "Don't stop your car on Crybaby Bridge at midnight." And if you ask them why, they'll tell you what starts walking toward you from the dark. Tonight, we go to two places. Two states. Two variations of the same impossible thing. Because the Goatman doesn't belong to one road, or one county, or one decade. He belongs to the dark, the specific kind of dark that collects in the places where civilization stopped trying. And he has been there, waiting, for a very long time. Prince George's County, the woods of Fletchertown Road. Since the late 1950s, the wooded backroads of Prince George's County, Maryland have been home to one of the state's most enduring monster myths, a creature that has terrified residents for over 70 years and earned its place as Maryland's most notorious cryptid. He is known as the Goatman. And before you hear the stories, you need to understand what he looks like. Because descriptions of the Goatman are remarkably consistent across decades of unconnected witnesses. He stands 6 feet tall. His body is covered in hair from head to foot. His eyes blaze red in the dark. His lower body resembles a goat's, cloven hooves where feet should be. He moves on 2 legs, like a man. And before he strikes, he makes a high-pitched squeal that witnesses describe as unlike anything they have ever heard come out of a living thing. Half man. Half goat. All nightmare. The most widely accepted origin story takes place not in a forest or a swamp, but in a government research facility. The story ties the Goatman to a scientist named Dr. Stephen Fletcher, who worked at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Beltsville Agricultural Research Center, a vast government compound sitting at the heart of Prince George's County. According to the legend, Fletcher's twisted ambition led him to attempt the fusion of human and animal DNA, choosing goats as his unfortunate subjects. Instead of achieving a scientific marvel, he inadvertently transformed himself into the violent hybrid the county would come to fear. The government, for its part, has denied this version of events. When pressed in 2013, a spokesperson for the Beltsville facility responded, and I am not making this up, by asking, "Don't you think he would have retired by now? Is his great-grandson a Goatman? Is he collecting Social Security?" The facility denied everything. Which is, of course, exactly what a facility that accidentally created a half-man, half-goat monster would say. It was during the 1970s that Prince George's County witnessed the meteoric rise of the Goatman, solidifying crucial aspects of his legend. The 1970s were a time of heightened anxiety, suburban sprawl pushing into what had once been wild, rural land. Teens with cars and too much freedom were discovering the dark back roads their parents had never told them about. And out there, in the places where the streetlights ended and the tree line began, something was waiting. The Goatman's territory ranges from Beltsville to Bowie, Mitchellville, and Upper Marlboro, a vast stretch of county roads and dense forest that became the hunting ground of local teen folklore through the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. One key location above all others became the center of the legend. A bridge, known among locals as Crybaby Bridge. Officially called Governor's Bridge, it sits in Upper Marlboro, an old, narrow structure spanning a dark stretch of water, surrounded by trees that press in from both sides like walls. The Goatman was said to ward people from his bridge during full moons, appearing from the darkness to drive off anyone who dared to stop there after midnight. Generations of teenagers drove out to that bridge on dares. Most came back shaken. Some came back with scratches on their cars they couldn't explain. Some came back saying they heard it before they saw it, that high-pitched squeal rising from somewhere in the black water below the bridge. And some, the ones who stopped their engines and sat in the dark long enough, say they saw it walking toward them from the tree line. They never stopped there again. The Goatman legend broke into public consciousness on October 27, 1971, when journalist Karen Hostler published an article in the Prince George's County News titled, "University Archives Reveal, Boa Man, Goatman, and Ghosts Still Haunt Area." It was meant to be a harmless Halloween feature. What happened next was anything but harmless. 2 weeks later, Hostler wrote a follow-up article with the headline, "Residents Fear Goatman Lives, Dog Found Decapitated in Old Bowie." The article described the family's search for their missing puppy, named Ginger. Ginger was found near Fletchertown Road, dead and headless. The article connected the dog's death to the Goatman, and also reported that sightings of an animal-like creature walking on its hind legs were increasing all along Fletchertown Road. On November 30th, the Washington Post picked up the story, giving the local legend its first national audience. Prince George's County Police were quoted saying that, "The legend just gets passed on from generation to generation," and that they had been receiving an increasing number of calls about Goatman sightings from residents who were frightened enough to dial 911. A decapitated dog. Police reports. The Washington Post. This was no longer a campfire story. Historian Mark Upsasnik grew up just miles from Bowie, and remembers the exact moment he first heard the legend. He was in 7th grade, in the back seat of an older friend's car. We would get rides, he later recalled. And when we would act up in the back seat, they would tell us to shut the hell up, where they'd dump us on Fletchertown Road and the Goatman would get us. He became obsessed with the story. In high school, he and his friends would go Goatman hunting, driving the dark back roads of Prince George's County with flashlights, daring each other to get out of the car. He never found the Goatman. But he never quite stopped looking, either. If you thought the Goatman stayed in Maryland, you were wrong. Because in the summer of 1969, something came out of the woods along the shores of Lake Worth, just outside Fort Worth, Texas, and turned an entire city into a frenzy. In Texan folklore, the Lake Worth monster is a legendary creature said to inhabit Lake Worth at the Fort Worth Nature Center and Refuge. The creature is described as part man, part goat, with fur, scales, and long clawed fingers. The first major sighting occurred on July 9, 1969. A group of 6 people claimed a man-goat beast rushed their parked car at the edge of the lake. The creature stood upright, covered in white or gray hair, with arms long enough to reach the ground. It let out a guttural scream, and then hurled a tire at the vehicle before disappearing back into the darkness. 6 people. 1 car. 1 tire, hurled like it weighed nothing. The police didn't laugh. John Reichart told police that the creature had leapt from a tree and landed directly on his car, and he showed investigators an 18-inch scar gouged down the side of the vehicle as proof. The responding officer later confirmed, "We did make a serious investigation because those people were really scared." The next morning, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram ran it on the front page. Within days, hundreds of locals poured into the area around Greer Island armed with flashlights, cameras, and the kind of bravado that dissolves the moment the woods go quiet. And what they found there didn't reassure anyone. Up to 40 spectators were present during one encounter, including members of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department. Witnesses reported that the monster became agitated and howled as it moved, eventually hurling a tire approximately 500 feet toward the crowd. The terrified onlookers, including the deputies, dodged the tire and fled. Let that land for a moment. Armed sheriff's deputies, running from a tire thrown by something in the dark. Something they couldn't explain, couldn't catch, and couldn't dismiss. The sightings continued. In November of 1969, a man named Charles Buchanan claimed that he had been sleeping in the back of his truck near Greer Island when the creature attacked him. He reportedly escaped unharmed after offering the beast a bag of chicken, watching as it swam back to Greer Island and disappeared into the tree line. A bag of chicken. That detail alone has kept this story alive for over 50 years in Fort Worth. In later decades, the legend deepened rather than faded. Locals continued to report strange noises, splashes in the lake at night, and shadowy figures moving along the tree line. One fisherman in the late 1980s claimed to have seen a large creature watching him from a rocky outcrop, only to vanish when he reached for his lantern. And each October, the Fort Worth Nature Center still hosts its annual Monster Bash, a celebration of the summer that a goatman terrorized Tarrant County and made the front page of the newspaper, and nobody could prove what it was. 2 states. 2 sets of witnesses. Decades apart. And both stories circle back to the same thing, something that is not quite human, not quite animal, occupying the dark spaces between civilization and the wild. Something that comes out when teenagers go looking for it on derelict backroads. Something that guards its territory with a fury that leaves scratch marks on car doors and physical evidence that police investigators cannot explain away. The Goatman is more than a simple cryptid. He is a piece of living folklore, a shadow cast by our collective anxieties. And as long as there are dark roads, curious teenagers, and a wild unknown world just beyond the streetlights, that shadow will continue to loom. The ancient Greeks had a name for him. They called him Pan, the god of wild places, of untamed land, of the dark forest that civilization never fully conquered. Half man, half goat. A deity of panic itself, the word panic coming directly from his name, from the primal terror his presence inspired in those who wandered too far from the safety of the known world. Maybe the Goatman is Pan. Older than Maryland. Older than Texas. Older than the roads that now cut through the forests where he has always lived. Maybe he was here before the roads. And maybe he is annoyed that we built them. So if you find yourself on Crybaby Bridge tonight, parked at midnight with your engine off and your headlights cutting nothing but fog and tree line, and the crickets go silent, and something moves at the edge of what the light can reach, start the car. Don't wait to see what it is. Don't get out to investigate. And don't, under any circumstances, look into the woods on the other side of the railing. Because the thing that locals have been warning you about for 70 years, the thing that left its mark in scratched metal and shattered silence and the headless remains of things that wandered too close, is already looking at you,